Jeff Canter. Jeff is the president of Step 1 Management. He speaks all over the region, all over the country to businesses and makes a big difference that way, teaching them how to be more effective and better at the business that they do. So let's give it up for Jeff Canter.
What I'd like to speak with you this evening about is a favorite topic of mine, and usually it's one that most people get a little turned off about, but I don't want to give you any negative vibes just yet. Let me ask you, what do you think the most important three-word sentence in the English language is? Any guess? 3 words strung together.
I love you. I love you. Yeah, that's right.
That's generally what I hear.
Yes, we can.
Oh, wait a minute. I've heard that somewhere before. That one works for somebody.
I was going to say it, but I didn't go there.
We'll get back to what the actual answer to that is, but what I want to talk to you about is accountability. And I want to draw a distinction for you between accountability and responsibility, because I think accountability is one of the most misunderstood concepts, not only in our professional lives, but also in our personal lives and in our society in general. Can someone tell me what you think, in your view, accountability means? What is it? Anybody?
Doing what you say you're going to do.
Doing what you say you're going to do. Anyone else? How about taking responsibility for what you do?
Get the job done, yeah.
Getting the job done. Would it surprise you if I told you that accountability has absolutely nothing to do with responsibility? Because responsibility is about execution. Responsibility is about who has the job. Tonight, my responsibility is to be up here giving you a little bit of insight as to what it is I do. I'm also accountable for that, but that's because I have to own the outcome of whatever it is I do. So, accountability is about ownership. Responsibility is about execution. Look in our organizations, whether it's in a nonprofit organization many of you are working in, whether it's a for-profit organization. I work in both of those things. I work in faith-based organizations. I can tell you that in most cases, the concept of accountability, ownership, is typically not practiced as robustly as the idea of responsibility. Because most people find the concept of having to own the outcome of what you do, and most especially what those people who are working in your chain of authority, it's very uncomfortable to have to own that outcome, especially over things that we can't control. And perhaps the most difficult part is when we ourselves have got to be accountable for what we have done. How many people believe that our public leaders are accountable to the voting public? Yeah, depends on what side of the fence and you're on politically and who happens to be in power at that point in time. How many people think that our business leaders behave accountably, that they are willing to own the outcome of the actions of their organization? I suppose you could ask the former CEO of BP about that right now, since he is not in his job. Of course, I don't think anybody's going to have to cry for him. He's doing okay after the fact. But let me ask you, do you think that Tony Hayward, is that his name? Whatever his name was, do you think that he actually was out on the front lines on that oil well when the thing sprang a leak? Do you think he had any clue as to what was going on 5,000 feet under the Gulf of Mexico? I'm pretty sure he had no idea, other than the fact that the money was flowing out. But he was accountable, ultimately accountable for the fact that there was something that went wrong. And he had to pay a consequence. That's the part that none of us like, isn't it? The consequence part. Oh, I talk to a lot of managers who think that being a manager, being a leader is all about the privilege, all about the power, all about the authority. I'm here to tell you that being a manager or a leader has absolutely nothing to do with the perks. In fact, I would tell you that being a leader, being a manager, is a burden. It is not a privilege. I've been a manager, I've been an executive in for-profit companies. I'm now, as I said, a managing director in a non-profit organization as one of my one of my careers, and I can tell you that being a leader is not a privilege, not a perk. It is a burden, and it's a burden because you have to be willing to accept ownership of everything that everyone in your chain of authority does, good, bad, or indifferent. Does that make sense to you in terms of the distinction? Now, let's circle back. Knowing how difficult it is for us to step up to the plate and be accountable, because it's so uncomfortable, and because a lot of the time when we're accountable, it's for things that we have absolutely no control over. What do you think the most important three-word sentence in the English language might be? Not I am responsible. I was wrong. Because in that statement, I was wrong, is the power, is the freedom to accept accountability for what you have done. It's never a problem when things have gone well and things have gone right or according to plan. The only time accountability becomes something we worry about is when it hasn't. And that's the point at which we have to be willing to say I was wrong and step up to that. And that is the most important sentence we can utter, but it's the one that we have the biggest problem. So I would encourage you, as you go from here this evening, to think about in your professional lives and in your personal lives, the things that you do to escape accountability. And you're not alone, so don't take it as a personal attack. The first time you look for someone or something to blame, watch out for that 5-letter word. That's your clue that you're looking